Yes, good morning. Yes, Simar, what's the title of the poem? Yeah. So today we have got the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. The poem written by Stephen Spender. So as the title suggests, we are going to talk about a classroom in the slum. Okay, number one, we are going to talk about this classroom. Secondly, it is in a slum. So when we talk about a classroom, or when we think about a classroom, what kind of image comes to our mind? When we think about a classroom, what kind of image comes to our mind? Yes, speak up. Okay, when we think about a school classroom, then often the image which comes to our mind is number one, a room consisting of blackboard or green board. Okay, then students. What kind of students? Well dressed up students. Well dressed up, happy faces. Right? What else? When you think about a classroom, what else image you get? Huh? Bags. Bags are there. You get see bags. Books and notebooks you see. Books, etc. Okay, you imagine teachers there in the class. What else? Yeah, light. You imagine a well lit up class, well lit up, ventilated, fans and all. Right? So what do these things like fans or light, furniture, okay, charts. Yeah, desks. Furniture you mean. And when you imagine a classroom, these things are obvious. Obvious. They are to be there. Right? Do you imagine a classroom with children who are sick, or with the children who are hungry, or with the children those who are lost in daydreams? Do you imagine that classroom? No or yes? No. When you imagine children sitting, you imagine happy children. If I ask you people right now to draw the picture of a classroom, you will be making the children, you'll be drawing the pictures of children with happy faces. Right? But here, the kind of picture we'll get in this poem is totally in contrast to what we can imagine. First and foremost thing in the classroom is, what's the life of a classroom? Students. Students are the life of a class. Without students, you cannot imagine a classroom. During this lockdown time, if we were teaching the empty classes, then we could teach because the students, we could see them here in front of us. If somebody asks us to teach an empty classroom, we cannot. Once I wanted to make a video and send it because syllabus was to be covered. I felt like recording my lecture. What happened? Because students were not there in front of me, so I went in for 3 or 4 retakes, because each time I would speak for 2 or 3 minutes, something else would come to my mind. So finally, I decided not to make a video. But during this lecture, do we go for retakes? The things go on. Even if something else comes to our mind, we are able to cover up, because it's a live teaching, because the students are there. In a lively class, the things are different. Right? So in this poem, when you will be reading this poem, first we are going to have a reading of the poem. You will see that these things are not at all there. If these things are not there, then what is there? Just now we said like the life of a class is its students. And if the students are the life of the class, what kind of students should be there? Happy children, healthy children. Number 3, inquisitive children. Who are the inquisitive children? Those who want to listen. Right now, you are all listening to me. You're all ears to me. Am I right? That is the life of a class. That is what the ideal class is. Life of a class is its students. Happy, healthy, and inquisitive. And what makes children inquisitive? What makes you listen to me? Can you tell me what makes you listen to me? You are inquisitive to get knowledge. But why are you inquisitive? Why are you inquisitive? Because? Okay, he says because of your way of teaching. Okay, leave it. Supposing you did not have any breakfast in the morning, you didn't have a dinner at night, you didn't get a breakfast in the morning, and you came to school without food, you came to class without properly being dressed up. You came to school in your night suit, which was not even ironed, not even combed, not even you took bath. Howsoever best teacher may come here, you will never listen. So if you want to listen to the teacher, because you are listening to teacher because you are well fed, stomachs are full, dresses properly dressed up, you people are. You people took bath and are feeling fresh. If these things were not there, you would never listen to me or anyone else. So the life of a classroom, children, they will be happy when they are well fed, when they come from the kind of atmosphere which is fit for a human being. Okay, because you are coming from the homes which are very, very beautiful places for you people to live. You love your homes. From your home, you can see the clear sky. At your home, there is clear water. Clear sky is there, clear water is there, all amenities are there. So you have a full life. So you are sitting here and listening to me. So if we imagine a good classroom, we imagine a good society also. We want a good society also. Society means social environment. And what makes up a social environment? Healthy environment outside, happy environment, economically sound environment. All must have something to sustain their life. Only then the children will be happy in the class. Yeah, if you are all happy, my next question now. So when your stomachs are full, good atmosphere at home, now well dressed up, everything fine, what else keeps you on in the class? What else keeps you on? Atmosphere of the class, yes. What kind of atmosphere in the class is keeping you on? What keeps you non-disturbing? Yes. What kind of atmosphere in the class is keeping you on? Lights, fans, desks, charts, and what I am teaching. Imagine I switch off the fans for 5 minutes. You won't listen to me for even 1 minute. I switch off the lights, even then your 80% interest will go off. Even if you don't want to look at your books, even if you're listening to me only, even then in darkness, you will not have that, spirit to listen to me. So environment is very important of the class. Congenial environment, we call it. Okay. congenial environment in the class makes students go on, right? We might not value these fans, but let me turn them off for 5 minutes. You will see. You will say, yes, ma'am. बहुत important है. Desks, you might not ever have realized in your life the value of desks. Imagine we remove the desks and I make you sit on the floor. After 5 minutes, you will feel like getting up, sitting down, getting up, sitting down. So will you concentrate on what I'm saying? No. And if I make the desks a bit shorter, will you be comfortable? No. If I make the desks a bit bigger, higher, even then you won't be comfortable. So environment, very important. If we remove the blackboard from here, 80% of your interest will go in the very beginning. Right? You people might have imagined when the teachers were teaching from home and the teachers teaching in the class. There is a difference. Number one, the teachers get that feel in front of the blackboard of the school. Environment is very important. So children, education in congenial environment, education for healthy children makes children the future of tomorrow, right? But if the children are starving, if they're hungry, if they are sick, if they don't have even the access to water to take bath in the morning, when they don't even have the amenities to comb their hair, when they just come to school in unkempt or dirty manner, and in the class when there is nothing like which you people are talking right now, but in the classroom the things are like, for example, in an elementary school, when the children come to a nursery class, if you keep in the class of nursery model of human skeleton, otherwise the skeleton is so important to teach the students of medical, right? In your bio lab, if there is no skeleton, you will say, what kind of bio lab is it? There is no skeleton. It is so important for you people to study the human body. But if you keep that important model in a nursery class, what will happen? The nursery class, those kids, those tiny tots, 3 or 4-year-old, they will start screaming there and they will take a pledge never to come to school. Right? Or if you're in a nursery class, you place these charts of your class. You place the chart of computers or of bio or of maths, trigonometry and all. What will nursery children do? They will not even look at them. But the moment a child of nursery comes to class and you place a chart depicting a beautiful apple, big apple, the moment child will come, he will look at the apple and he will try to touch it. And he will talk about it. He will keep on looking at it. So what is this? Value of environment. Environment and appropriateness. And if in your class, if we keep the charts over here, apple, ball, elephant, what will you do? You will just keep on laughing the whole day. No? You won't realize like what is this nonsense, you will say. You won't be able to respect your school then. Right? What will you learn then? So proper environment. Environment is also about appropriateness. You people are medical or non-medical students, and if I keep over here a globe, right? A big globe. You will say, what will we do with it? We are medical, non-medical. It's okay, globe should be there, but you don't require it in the class. You don't have to study it right now. Unnecessary. Right? So the point is, like, environment should be appropriate in a class. Right? So these If you get good environment, everything is possible in that class. But where the children are not well fed, well looked after, they are not given congenial atmosphere, they are made to, and in the end, they are made to live in miserable conditions. The conditions where even an animal should not live. They live, not only for some time, but throughout their life. They cannot even have a look at a clear blue sky from that slum, because slums are always near the industrialized cities. So in the industrialized cities or in the industrialized areas, the smoke keeps on coming out of those chimneys. And that smoke always covers up the sky. So from slum, you cannot ever have a look at the clear blue sky in your life. So these children who might not even have seen a clear sky, the ones who might not ever have seen the clear stars in their life, can you imagine them to become Shakespeare's tomorrow? Can you imagine them to become Albert Einstein tomorrow? Can you imagine them to become Aryabhat tomorrow? These people will keep on struggling only for survival throughout their life. Yeah, and one more thing. These children who live in slum, if you leave them with whatever they have, even then they will manage. They will manage to live like that only at least. But those kinds of people, if you show them dreams by giving a class where there is nothing like this which you people have been told about, then what will happen? These children will not be able to study anything, but these children will just come to know that there is a better life than this one. For this, I always give an example. Supposing you are very hungry, you have not eaten anything for 1 week. And you come to school and I say, beta, we have to do this poem in elementary school classroom in a slum. And afterwards, here I lay down the tables. I keep delicious things, all your favorites, burgers, pizzas and all, whatever you like, they are all there. But first I say, first you listen to me for 1 hour, then that. What will you do? Will you study for 1 hour? Throughout that 1 hour, your eyes will remain there. Your nose will keep on smelling that food, right? You will keep on looking for a minute to go and grab that food. Suppose by chance I go out to talk to principal ma'am. What will you do? You will go there and pick up something and sit back. So what have I done? I have made you people thieves. This is what that kind of education will do. Otherwise, these poor children, if you were hungry, if I did not keep food there, then you would have managed. You would have managed your hunger. But because I kept food there and I did not offer it to you, howsoever nice you are, you will become thief. Similarly, the situation is of these children. These children who are very poor, deprived of all beauties of life. But if you show them beauty through the class, but don't give them anything, they will become thieves. They will become criminals tomorrow. If you don't show them anything, if you don't show them the dreams, if you let them live as it is the life of slum dwellers, they will manage to live as slum dwellers. Getting? Yes. But if you show them the dreams ki beta in the classroom, there are these things. There are beautiful valleys like Terali's Valley, Kashmir Valley. If I show you through pictures here, children will come to know that the world is so better place to live. There are so many rich people are there. What will they try to do? They will, because they will not be able to get it on their own there and then. Okay, that's a long journey. Becoming the billionaire means the journey of the life. even becoming anything. If your parents became something today, that is because of their lifetime experience and hard work. If I am speaking today something, that is because of my experience or my own study of years. But if you want to get what I am speaking instantly, what will you do? You will do cheating. And if you say want to get 10 on 10 in the test of this point which I am speaking, without any hard work, without experience, what is the shortcut for you? Cheating. This is what is happening with these children also. These children are shown the dreams, and those children are children. So without actually accumulating the experience or hard work, in the end, they would like to get the things by hook or by crook. So these children become thieves, criminals. So here my question is, which I did not emphasize much, what made these children become criminals? When they are only shown the things, the way I told you, if I keep the food over here and I don't let you touch it, the moment if I, supposing you entered, I said, okay, beta, go and have food first. Then I will teach you. What will happen? When your stomachs would be full, then the kind of education you will learn the value of getting that food through hard work. But what is going on with these children of the slum? They are shown the dreams, they are shown the platter, they are shown the dining table, only shown, nothing else. So they are very, very prone to become criminals, because the defective educational system is going on. So if we want these children to become the valuable citizens of this country, of this world, what do you think is the first thing to be done? Okay, he says ideal environment for studies or education, है ना? आप ये कह रहे हो दोनों. I told you, if I keep the whole platter here and I start teaching you in the best possible manner. Yes, if you want your children, if you want these children to grow up into healthy human beings, first give them food, solve their problems of food. और सिर्फ खाना खा के पढ़ लेंगे आप? What else you need to have with you? So proper living area means good environment. Are slums ideal places to live? Should slums be beautified? Should slums be beautified? So slums should be there, है ना? उनको beautify कर दो. Slums should not be there. Slums are illegal, you can say, places on this earth. They are never legalized. Do you know this? Slums are never legalized. So first of all, the slums must be removed. And these people should be made to live in beautiful and respectable places. Their problems of food, clothing, and shelter should be solved. Then bring them to the class. And in the class, environment should be congenial. Show them something which they can relate themselves with. If you start showing a slum child the beautiful picture of Kashmir Valley, will he be able to relate to that? If you start showing, if you keep over here, if you show them a presentation of Kashmir Valley or of beautiful Australian valleys or of Switzerland, what will happen to them? Will they be impressed? Ki, wow, yeah, they will be impressed, but they will come to know that in our slum, these things are not there. I have to do something to go there. What will they do? They'll become criminals. So first, let their living conditions be beautiful. And these slum children, if you want to teach them, should you start teaching them from the books? If you start teaching these poor children Tell them like, these are the books, open them and learn A for apple. Will they learn? Give them apple to eat and tell them, beta, this is apple. Don't even tell them, they'll learn that this is A for apple. So the best way to teach these children is to take them out and let them run on the open fields. Let them run in the open, maybe deserts. Let them see the beauty of the world on their own. Let them learn from nature first. Let them have access to beautiful, clear sky. Let them see the beauty of those stars. Only then they will understand the beauty of the stars of books. What are the stars of books? Words. They will appreciate the books. They will read the books when they have seen the beauty around them first. So first, remove the slums. Take them to the beautiful lands. Let them run naked upon those deserts or maybe the vast open green fields. If they want to run upon green fields, let them run. If they want to walk upon the deserts, let them. Let them first have a clear experience of the world on their own. Then let them read the books. Let them read as much as they want. Let them explore the world. Then the world will be theirs. History theirs, whose language is the sun. The poet concludes the poem like this, like, history theirs, whose language is the sun. Only those people are able to do something wonderful, the ones who are taken care of. Those who get the warmth of love. So love the people. So those who are taken care of, and those people who are well fed and well read. Those who have the warmth of love, warmth of knowledge, right? And other things which are required for one's survival, right? So first, love them. And if you love them, what will happen? If you start loving these slum dwellers, what will happen? Slum will be no more there. If society, if the government, if NGOs, if we kinds of people start loving those people, then we will never ever let them live in those dismal conditions. We will give them good environment to live. If we will love them, we will give them proper facilities to learn. And when they will be loved, when they will have knowledge, then only they will be able to do something wonderful. Otherwise, they will just keep on getting disappeared from this earth like the Tare Zameen Par. Remember that movie? That was the theme of that poem, movie also. Otherwise, there are so many children, those who are very talented, very skilled, but because of the shortage, dearth of opportunities or training or even recognition, they go beyond, they get oblivious, they get forgetfulness. They are not even remembered or recognized, right? So this poem, Tare Zameen Par, so this poem, an elementary school classroom in a slum, is about that. So this was the overall introduction to the poem. I hope you've got the gist of the poem. Tomorrow or day after, next week, we'll start the poem from scratches. It's a beautiful poem, but a little difficult. Not a little. Children find it very difficult, but I find it very, very beautiful to convey. But once you will listen to this, you will never find it difficult. So attentively attend the lecture of this poem next week on Monday. Is that clear? If there would be some arrangement, I will take the arrangement and I'll notify the class, then also attend it. Okay? Okay. Yes, children, here are the things clear? So let's read the poem. Yes. Okay, children, tomorrow we'll read the poem. Okay? Next week. Thank you.